Well, hello, Des. It's nice to have you with us today.
Yes, John, I'm happy to be here.
That's great. By way of a formal introduction, Des Jones from Austin, Texas, representing there, and expert in all things real estate, whether you need to buy, sell, lease, invest. Des can help you with everything. So great to
Yes,
have you with us, and we're going to get to know you a little bit better, so we can send you some referrals. Does that sound good?
perfect to me.
All right. I love it. Well, just to kind of get us rolling here, did you get your start into real estate, or did you just wake up one day, hey, I think I'm going to be a realtor?
Yeah, so how it started for me was 2017. I was working at a credit union. I was, day in, day out, just doing those transactions and kind of helping the members. They're a little bit different than the banking world, but very similar. But mainly it just got to a point where I was like, there has to be more. My downtime at work, my mind is thinking, I'm like, there has to be more. There has to be something else. And as a kid, I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I didn't really know what that looked like. So always also knew real estate was a way that people made money and, grew their wealth. So I started, looking around on Realtor and Zillow, looking at properties. Didn't really know much of what I was looking at, but I'm looking at, okay,
Sure.
this property seems pretty cheap, and started looking at that. So I guess from then the algorithm threw in there an ad on Facebook of a 1 day seminar, and I was like, okay, let's do it. Signed up for it, went to it. I loved it. It was really a game changer, really opened my mind up to possibilities, right? That was the main thing about that course. I liked it so much that I did their 3 day course, learned even more, just really got immersed in the content and really just knew then that this was something that I could do. They were teaching how to invest in real estate, how to find money to invest in real estate, all those things. So every day I was working on that. Once I got off work, I was, coming straight home. I'm looking up stuff, I'm doing everything, finding deals. And from there, I got started wholesaling. And then I found a private money lender from doing that wanted to partner with me to buy properties. So that was kind of my next step, right? And a lot of times people don't really find that as soon as I did. So I don't know if I got lucky, beginner's luck. I don't know what it was, but um, we hit the ground running, buying rentals, buying flips, and that's all that we were doing. And I was pretty much doing all the operations of that, placing tenants,
Mhm.
overseeing the projects of getting everything renovated, and I really love that part. So that's really what got me started. And then 2023, I decided, let's make a change. Shortly after the pandemic, market changed a bit as far as the
Mhm.
margins on deals and the numbers and things. Some investors got scared; they didn't want to do much anymore.
Right.
So I said, hey, let's try to, expand our expertise here, and let's see if we can help people more of a traditional sense. So that brought me to get my license.
Wow. That sounds like you've lived a lifetime already,
I
right?
know. I think back and I'm like, I can't believe I did all of that. Like it is crazy. Yes.
Well, you know what's interesting, Des, is that a lot of I know when I was in school 100 years ago, there was no education, there was no training, no aspirations for helping people in school to
Hmm.
even think about buying a home, or how to save for it, how to plan, nothing. And still today, when you talk to a lot of the kids that are in school, there's very little, maybe a couple schools that have got it down, but in general, people, in a young age, they don't even know about that. So for you
Exactly.
to start at a younger age, to have that
Mhm.
passion and interest in real estate, and you pursued it, that's really that really says something about where you're at today and why you've had so much success.
Yeah, I think it really was. I was just, I think, fearless. I think when you're in your 20s, that part of your brain hasn't developed yet that has you very cautious of things. You're just
You
like,
don't know any
you're
better.
saying, yeah, you're like, let's do it. Sure, and that mindset really just helped me to get through that because a lot of people will not make certain decisions because of fear of failure. And,
Hmm.
you know, there's no other way to do it other than to just do it. It's not a failure because you're learning, it's experience, whatever happens of the situation is experience. So, and that ultimately sets you up for success. I always say it's not a failure if you keep going.
Oh,
You
that's
keep
good.
going to get to that success. That's part of the journey, and yeah, I was really happy to not have that fear and just go for it.
Yeah, that's it's the only thing that is worse than not um, you know, trying is having a fear that is so gripping
Hmm.
that it just you don't even have the desire to try. And
Hmm.
in your case, you just jumped in with both feet and said, you know what? I'm going to do this. Let's go. And you connected with a good investor there too, which was really good. So, approximately when did you start in the real estate business?
So that was 2017 when I got started. About,
2017.
yeah, so 8 years now.
Wow. So 8 years. And, we all know that, come March 14th of 2020, the world changed
Yes.
and we had this thing called a pandemic
Hmm.
with COVID. And, unfortunately, and maybe you saw this too, but a lot of our colleagues, a lot of our friends, they either lost businesses or they
Hmm.
left what they love to do, and that was helping people in real estate or in lending. We had whole shops that were just closing up and, shutting their
Yeah.
doors. And that
Hmm.
was really, really scary times. So I'd like to ask you, Des, is during those times, what adjustments, what pivots did you make so that you could stay successful?
Yeah. So when that happened, I had a virtual assistant. I had an acquisitions person working with me at the time. And really what I what happened was January of 2020. So like right before that even happened, I had just invested into growing my business, right? Of hiring a virtual assistant and a acquisitions person, because before that it was just me, outside of my investor. So I was setting up for a big pivot and a big change and everything. And then, that happened. But the good part was that I had already had these people trained ready to help me bring in more business. And so that really did help and stump out any, you know, oh crap, let's stop everything. It
Right,
was
right.
okay, let's train these guys to also help us bring in these leads still, and yeah, like you said, there were certain investors that were like, hey, I'm out, I'm not buying anything right now,
Hmm.
or interest rates were good as far as if you were buying, on a traditional side, but the property values were pretty high. So the
Sure.
margins and everything changed as far as, I mean, the property you could get for 30,000, it's an $80,000 property now,
That's right.
um, and it might still need 50, 60,000 in repairs and stuff. So really just sticking with it was how I did it. I had those people on my team, so that helped me to keep on bringing in and generating leads despite what was going on. We're just going to go in there with the mask on now. We're deemed essential workers, so
Yeah.
that gave us the green light to keep going. So I just went with it.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I know for us too, it was a real challenge because, for a while, everybody was refinancing. So that was a great market. We were helping people save money and
Mhm.
get out of debt, things like that. And then another pivot time needed to happen.
Yeah.
The rates went this direction,
Hmm.
and more of our colleagues left the business. They took other jobs they couldn't sustain.
Hmm.
And, it was a really tough time to see. But I think those of us like yourself and us, we realized that you need to make that adjustment. If we have to go virtual for a while, we go virtual for a while.
Hmm.
Um, and we started doing a lot of advertising, a lot of marketing, going back to your old clients, which we should be doing anyways, right? And
Right.
making sure we stay in front of them. And I gotta say, and get your opinion on this. Um, I know some for a fact, some lenders, they were so focused on the refinance boom that they forgot about their realtor partners. They forgot about the purchases. And
Yeah.
that was feedback that was given to me. It's like, oh yeah, my lender he used to call me every day, he used to call me every week. I haven't heard from him in months. And
Yeah.
did you experience that, or or heard about it in your area?
Yeah, I know, like you said, a lot of people had to pivot, at that time. And when COVID happened, I hadn't gotten my license yet. I was still on the investor side of things. So really, I just was seeing, just like I said, the change in the market itself. But I got my license in 2023. So things had all, it was kind of set in place by then that the rates are high,
Yeah,
and even then there was a lot of realtors, that left the business or just weren't doing as much anymore either because of that. But like you said, leaning into those past clients, that's how you're going to continue to evolve and stay relevant, and that's going to keep bringing you business. So I had just got my license. And of course, when you first get your license, you don't learn everything you're supposed to know in real estate school. No one
right.
knows that until it happens. And you're like,
That's
oh, okay,
true.
now what? So, went through the transitioning from the investor side of things and into being a realtor and dealing with the traditional side of real estate. So, my whole thing was really just focusing on that, focusing how can I become a realtor that people need, how can I market, like you said, at that advertisement, that's the main thing that I saw was that made you stand out. It was like,
Hmm.
okay, it's time to create content, it's time to reach out to your sphere. It's time, those are the things that you have to do now,
Yeah,
and we're still seeing it.
that's right, right. That's so true. And you highlighted a point is those things that make you stand out because let's
Mhm.
face it, there's thousands of realtors, there's thousands of lenders, but
Yes.
similar to the theme of this running podcast that I have, it's called The Mindset of a Champion, What Sets
Mhm.
You Apart. So,
Yeah.
kind of camping on that theme for a second, what sets you apart? Because with these podcasts, as we were talking before, I like to use them to send referrals to you.
Yeah.
And what I'll do is I'll use this podcast and this link, and I'll say, you're looking to move to the Austin area? I've got the perfect realtor. Des will take great care of you. In fact, you want to get to know her a little bit better and what sets her apart and why you should choose her. Check this podcast out. So,
Yeah.
with that in mind, um, if I was to ask you your thoughts of what does it mean to be a champion in your field, and maybe how does that affect your daily work activities in the real estate field, having that mindset of a champion?
Really, having the mindset of a champion is being able to drown out all the noise, all the media, even with the NAR settlement, the changes, just drowning it out. There's so much information, so much noise going on that if you were to feed into that, you think, well, maybe I shouldn't be a realtor. Maybe they're right. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe we do suck, or
Yeah.
whatever the running
Yeah.
thing is, or maybe we don't deserve the commission, or maybe, maybe I should go do something else. But really, it's being able to drown that out, and perseverance is key. Knowing that you have to doing things, especially sales. the top thing you have to do is protecting your mindset. Making
Absolutely.
sure that you're reading good content, you're following good content like this, that is about that is on that track, because it's easy to fall into the other side of things.
Yeah.
So I think being able to really just focus in on protecting your mindset, really growing that, really figuring out, okay, where do I set myself apart?
Hmm.
And like for me as an investor, or I'm able to set myself apart from other realtors that may not have any idea about investing in real estate. Most realtors don't, you know, and that's an edge I'm able to give to my clients, because the average person doesn't understand about investing in real estate either. They'll they may have heard, they might, HGTV or something, but as far as really buying a property at the right price and really seeing a return on it, I'm able to really guide them through that process. Okay, this is what a distressed property is. This is what it looks like. This is what you will need to do to fix it, to get you a tenant in there, or this is a turnkey property. This is how much you'd cash flow on it. Being able to really set those numbers in front of them as well as walk them through those properties, I think that really is what sets me apart. So I have to say, okay, let me use that as my edge. That's my secret weapon, having that background. So I try to bring that to the table anytime I'm helping the client.
Yeah, that's amazing. So your expertise, your knowledge, your passion for helping educate people to understand, for instance, the investing process and
Mm-hmm.
how to get the best return out of their investment. That's so, so valuable. Let me ask you this question too. Um, when it comes to working with a lender, what
Mm-hmm.
are a couple things that you absolutely must have that you expect from your lender?
I would say just my lender to also help me educate my client as well. I may have a question for my lender. Hey, what credit score do they need to be at, or is it going to be a hard hit, or is it a soft hit? How do you guys work? What do you guys do? Because these are the
Mhm.
questions they're going to be asking me as well. So having someone that's very knowledgeable to help educate my client is someone that is something I like to see in a lender as well. Like, your stuff, you're responsive, and hey, even if it's not working out right now, they don't get approved or whatever the case may be, you're like, hey, no worries. Here's what I think you could do to get approved next time. We're going to work on
Mhm.
this, work on that, and see me in 6 months. And just being able to tell me, okay, hey, this is where your client is. This is where I kind of told them where they need to be and where we can get them. And then that way I can also help them stay. We're working together, we're a team, so
Yeah,
I'm staying on them. Hey, are you saving that money? Did you find another job yet? Whatever the case may be, to prove that income or that score or whatever is needed to get them in that home. So really just a partnership, because we're both making this deal happen.
right. You mentioned a key word in responsiveness. That word really resonates with me. I think about it. I actually did a separate podcast, or not a podcast, just a video
Mm-hmm.
on, and it was entitled "Say Something." And people were like, "What? What is this?" And the whole thing was based on, and maybe this happened to you before. You call somebody, they don't answer. Okay, that's fine. Maybe they're in a meeting or something. You text them, they still don't answer, or they don't even respond for several hours, maybe even the next day or the day after.
Mm-hmm.
And you send them a message on social media, which you can see that they're on, you know,
Yeah.
little green lights on or
Blue
whatever.
green light.
No response. You see they read it, no response. And it just the responsiveness in our business is so critical. When people call me, I know it's not generally just to say, "Hey, John, how you doing?" It's
Right.
I need answers, I need help, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important when we're in a meeting, when we're, whatever we're doing and we can't pick up or whatever, say something. I'll call you right back. I'm in a meeting, or I got your text. I'll check it out as soon as I get back to my home office. Whatever it is, say something. It does
Absolutely.
that resonate with you?
Oh yeah, because I mean, I do, as it's a lot of realtors, I know it's a lot of lenders as well. So you're not picking up, they could be calling the next lender or the next realtor right after, and they're gonna likely give their business to whoever picked up the phone first, So
That's right.
yes, that is, or you being able to at least say, hey, I'll get right back to you. Let them know, okay, this person is available still.
Yeah.
I'll wait for them to call me at 5 or, in the next hour or whatever, they're going to be available. So, yes, that is very
Mhm.
important.
And once you get a reputation, a good one or a bad one, either one
Mm-hmm.
is hard to get away from. It's if you have a good reputation, hey, I know if I call Des, that girl answers her phone every time, or at least she says something. I know I can call John anytime. He doesn't work banker's hours. He's always on. I can get a
Yes.
That's a reputation that will precede you in any conversation, and it's actually won me business because people
Mm-hmm.
have, I might put a post out that says, test me, call me. And
Yeah.
people start calling and answer my phone. And they're like, oh, okay. And I actually had one realtor test me that way. And she says, you passed my test. Now here's a client. And I was like,
Nice.
all right, then, So
Yeah.
whatever we
Yeah,
can do
literally it was.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, I was just gonna just add an example. Yeah, that literally happened a couple of weeks ago to me. Yeah, with
Oh,
lenders.
wow.
Um, yeah, one he wasn't answering, the other one picked up. And like you said, they might call you back a day later, don't say anything. But yeah, it's gonna be who's the most responsive. Hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, those are things that really, set us apart, and they determine, winners from non-winners, champions from non-champions.
Exactly.
And so, another question that I have, and I usually save this for towards the end because we've talked about how to be successful. We've talked about the pivots and the adjustments, people make like you who made them, stayed successful during a pandemic and challenging
Hmm.
financial times. But what advice would you give to whether it's a new realtor joining the business, perhaps even a seasoned realtor that is wondering what happened to my business? What advice
Hmm.
would you give to help people be successful?
I would say really dig deep and figure out what makes you different, what sets you apart, and not being afraid to really lean into, because at the end you're in a sense you're selling yourself. So you have to lean into what sets you apart, what makes you different from the next agent. You know, who is your ideal client? Really being able to drill into your target market, who are you looking to bring in as a client? You have to know who that person is and knowing who you yourself is as well. And just being obsessed with the process. It's a process. There's days things are going to be up, things are going to be down. This deal goes through, this one doesn't. And a lot of it's not even to your own fault. There's nothing you could do about it. There's nothing you could have done, so it's really having that champion mindset to just say, hey, this is a part of the game. I know I'm one step closer to winning,
I love
and no
that.
matter taking whatever comes at you, this is a part of it, and really knowing yourself and knowing who you're trying to reach.
Yeah, those are really, really good suggestions from, a longtime professional. And, I think about it on a personal level too. Um, Advice that I have to offer for people is number one, never give up, always keep trying, roll up your sleeves and work harder than the next person. That's
Mm-hmm.
you look at the goats of the sports world, the Bradys, the Kobe's, those
Oh yeah.
people. What set them apart was that they never stopped, they never quit, and they always outworked everybody else.
Oh yeah.
And that's
That was
kind of how it
yeah.
is in our business, right?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Kobe. I even have his book sitting here as well of Mamba mentality.
Yes.
He understood he wasn't the fastest. He didn't have the biggest hands, but he understood, hey, I can work on these things to make myself better. And that's another part of knowing yourself. Okay, what am I good at? What am I not? People just also want to just focus on what they're good at. Improve the things that you're not so good at as well.
Hmm.
Make yourself better. And that's what Kobe did. He spent that time to make up the difference in where he wasn't super super tall or super super big hands or super fast. But he worked on it till it worked for him. So that is really the main thing the main thing you have to do, because that hard work is going to beat that talent any day.
Absolutely. Well, Des, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us here on the podcast, The Mindset of a Champion, What Sets You Apart. Clearly, you're doing amazing things in the Austin area and the surrounding areas too to help more families accomplish their dream of homeownership. And we're
Yes.
grateful for you, and we look forward to sending you referrals.
Absolutely. I look forward to working with you too, John. It's definitely been a pleasure.
Likewise. Well, thank you so much for joining us.